seen making a call API, how we can actually make a call and all, right? So that you can give any number you want, which you have already seen, and click on call, right? So what it will do, if it is a valid, it will actually take you to the call API, right? So your activity of your call, the internal API call will happen, and it will actually send create a call API for us. Right? So that is what we have seen in our previous class. Today we'll see something like SMS, how to actually create an SMS pattern here, right? Okay, fine. So let's create a new activity here. So let me call it as some SMS activity. Click on finish. So yeah. Right, so here we are going to take let's go to main activity and make it as SMS activity. So let's get back to this. So here what we'll do, we'll just take a simple text field to give the message body and just say send SMS. So let's go to this, just say BTM something that send SMS, and let me call it as a edit text and just say it as a edit text SMS message, what exactly you want. And whenever we what we are going to do here is, so we will just give some message what you want to take it on, and here you don't have to give the number, because whenever you click on send SMS, right, you can actually have one contact to select or multiple contacts, right? So for that reason, what we can do is we can actually select the internal SMS API itself directly from here. We'll see how to do that part, right? Now here this is a text message. I've taken a single text message. If you want, you can actually take a multiple line message too, right? That's fine. So here let us go to the activity. Now let me take up the button here.
So Srinath, this SMS activity and telephone activity will work on the Android phone itself.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Android phone itself, in a sense.
With emulator, we cannot make it work.
Yes, because we don't have SIM registered with emulators, right? We can actually use them. Yeah, if you want, you can actually deploy.
What about the mail activity?
Even the mail, actually, because see, I'll show you that. I'll show you the mail. Once we are done with SMS, right? I'll show you how to use email, right? Because
actually, for mail activity, we don't need any SIM, right? We just need an internet, and we need the email address.
No, you have to. You should have a SMTP server, right? You should have a SMTP client, right? See, you should have for email, right? You can't actually run it directly, right? What you should have is, you should have one of the email, like it can be Gmail or any SMTP, or SMTP in the sense app installed, right? So whenever you just click on send email, right, it will ask you to select the default email you want, right?
Yes.
Which means that is something, unless until you have SMTP server registered, right, you can't send email from anywhere, even if you have internet, obviously, right? You should have some SMTP registered, right? Yeah, SMTP is, I hope you guys know what is SMTP.
What is SMTP?
Yeah, I'll tell you that, yeah. So SMTP is like, it is like, SMTP meaning is something which is, okay, so SMTP is nothing but, this is something which is send mail transfer protocol. The meaning itself is send mail transfer protocol. Now, it has got its own features actually. Now, if you know what is HTTP, right, it is hypertext transfer protocol, where the communication will be done, complete communication will be done through XMLs actually, right? That is a transfer protocol which will be used in HTTP. But here server mail transfer protocol is something where there will be a fixed port which is separate from the normal HTTP server, and there will be a separate SMTP port. We call it as SMTP port. By default, port will be 25. So in our HTTP, if you see HTTP, right, by default ports will be like 80 or some 8080. These will be the ports which will be registered with servers. And SMTP by default the port will be 25. Right? So this is a mail server actually. This is a mail server which you have to deploy one of the servers. What is a mail server is, take an example of Outlook itself. If you are using Outlook in your office, right, until unless they have mail server deployed on one of the machine, right, you can't use that SMTP in your client. Right? Take an example of Gmail itself. You can also use your Gmail SMTPs. If you just go to, let me show you that. You'll be having something called outgoing POP and incoming POP SMTP servers for Gmail too. So let me browse it on and show you what exactly it is. Gmail SMTP settings. Yep. This POP servers. Yeah. So here you can see, if you want to create your own SMTPs right now, this is your SMTP. Yeah, this one. Right? You can see here for outgoing, here you can see Gmail. You don't need any Gmail app for actually creating your actual mail server actually. If you know this port, if you want to send something, if you know that pop.gmail.com and configure this port, right, and if you run your mail server, your mail will go through with this Gmail server to anyone you want. But obviously you have to provide your email and password so that it will log into this. So this is called as, you are actually using a Gmail server, SMTP server IP and the port, right, which will actually run on SSL security protocols actually. This is called as your your SendMail SMTP servers, right? So what happens in Android cases, you will be having your own apps. Whenever you install any app, right, like let's say you have installed a Gmail app, or some email apps will be default in Android. So in that mail app, you have to configure at least one email. It can be Gmail, Yahoo, whatever you want, right? Configure that, and whenever you write any code for sending an email, right, so it will search for what are the different apps which are using SMTP clients, right, and then it will choose any one of them to make it as a default email sender. Then if you choose one, then for that time on, whenever you want to send, you will actually send email through using that SMTP server. This is called as an SMTP, and we are going to use the same thing, right? It is not like if you have internet, you can't send a mail directly, right? You should have some SMTP server dedicated, to send a mail. So if you are working for a big organization, right, so normally using your SMTP server and port, and by default, if you are working for some company, right, you will be getting some mails like no reply and all. Have you guys gone through that in time? No reply, some internal
yeah, it's in a computer organized mails.
Exactly, it is automated mails, right? So how they are actually sending? They are actually sending admin mails. Yeah, so they are actually using SMTP server and port without credentials. So that server will be there when you are actually working on intranet as such, when you are actually working for some company, and they will create their own default, or we call it as dummy SMTP with some port. Right? There you don't need any email ID password. But if you are using some secure like Gmail servers or Yahoo server SMTPs or Outlook or any, right, then you have to give your email ID and password to send a mail, right? And as we are going to set up one of the email client in our Android phone, right, then whoever want to send any mail, that SMTP server and mail and password will be used directly, right? So that's how we will be sending email, right? Okay, so let's see how we can actually do the SMS part. Now that's why even SMS part, we will be using direct API of Android, because let's say you want to give option of sending or selecting contacts, right? How many contacts will give? Now then again you have to contact API to select contacts, right? And you don't have option to select multiple. So for that reason, what we'll do, we'll just give the body message, right? And when we click on SMS, right, we'll directly take him to send SMS UI, and from there he can select contact and send a SMS. That is what we're going to do now here. Now here, let's take first edit text, where we are going to take body. Let me call it as ltxt message is equal to, we have find view by id of r dot id dot, we have edit text send SMS message. So typecast it to edit text here, and then you have your button. You have something called send. Find view by id, you have r dot id dot btn send SMS. Fine, so you can cast it to this, and now you can actually select this button send dot set on click listener. Right, so let's import this UI, and then let's use try catch to actually do the thing whatever we want. Now here, whatever message we have read, let's take it in a string. Dot get text. Now this is the message I want to get. Now, so again the same concept. If you want to access any of the internal API of Android, we have to use intent class. Right? This will be common across. So let me take it as int is equal to new. We have intent of. So here what we have to do is, so we will be doing this SMS API part in different way. So previously we took something called action call, right? So here we'll be taking an internal action method called action underscore view. This is a command which we'll be taking, and while before starting activity, right? So what we'll be doing is, we'll have to do two things. First thing is that we have to set the SMS body, right? Which is, we have lobj intent dot put extra, right? Everything will be an internal key and value part. So here name will be, you have to type in SMS underscore body. This is a default key we have for body message setting, and the value is our message. And then okay, you have to make it final anyways. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to call something called set type. Now this is very important for SMS part. Now the same SMS or the same code will also work for MMS. If you want to send any MMS, right, same thing will work here. Now here you have to use something called UND. This is a standard to actually access a internal SMS or MMS API. We have something called Android /directory /MMS SMS API.
What is this UND means?
So UND.Android is something, this is a package where your SMS or MMS API is there.
Okay.
Yeah? That is what we are doing. This is standard actually. In order to actually get an access to any SMS API, we will be using the same set type to intent. It will actually get the SMS view for us.
Okay.
Right? Now once you start activity, it will actually open the interface of SMS interface. Then in that SMS interface you can select a multiple contacts, and that will be populated with this message you want. Right? In our try catch, let's go with creating a toast to show the error if we have. Just say e.get message, and duration is toast dot long dot show. Okay. So this will be our now let me run this. So okay, so it will start our SMS thing. Now we have, let's say hello, some message body, click on send SMS. No activity found, has extras. Okay, it seems I can't do it in my emulator, it seems, right? So let me just check out with some other thing. So here you have Android directory, everything is fine. It says can't find it. Maybe if you run it, not really found to handle intent. What is that? Okay, maybe if you run the same thing in your Android phone, right, it will actually sync up. So normally it should get at least some other message here. So let's say you have some other things, maybe she's send, let's say I'm gonna send so let me take some other things here. Action view, let's see whether I have some other for SMS in it. So these APIs are something which will be standard across actually. So here we have something called and we have the same thing. Okay, we don't have action SMS. We have, no, we don't have. So whatever we are getting here, it says click on send SMS. No activity found to handle even. Okay. It says the activity itself is not there. Then there is something called Android directory and has extras. Click on this again. It's BND. I'm sorry. So BND, which is standard, and anything else here. It says to handle Android has extras. Okay. So let us run this again and see what happens now. So it should work now. And sometimes if it is not working, maybe that API is not, we are not able to get the API or that activity from our Android. Right? Normally that happens. So this is one thing you have to set, and let me just select something, and if you are not able to send again, you have to get the permission. Okay, fine, it is working messaging. Perfect. Okay, so this is how you can see, right? You can see that if you actually got it went to this message, right, and we are able to actually give the phone number around, right? So where we have SMS number, it will actually take. Now if you want to give number, you can give here and type message here. So it will be sent. Just give some number and type on some hello. Right? Click on send. Right? It will be sent. Right? So in this way, now you are building a connection with this number actually. It will be sent in this way. Right? And normally you should get something called this body message by default. Now for this again we will have to allow some permission again. So let's go ahead and see what permission we can actually give here. So we have to give a user permission, right? The same thing we have already seen, name, and here you have to select some Android permission called, you have something called send SMS. Yep, the send SMS part, right? Which means from my current app, I'm actually initially whenever I'm installing, right, I'm actually getting the permission from user that okay, I can send SMS from this app. Let me run this and we'll see what happens here. Now anyways, this will be the way that it will actually open. Maybe you can see this part much better way in your phone rather, right? So let it open. Okay, this is something which you can see, start activity, send SMS. So let's say it's hello, click on SMS here. Right. Okay, so that is what we got. Normally what we should get is, we should actually get the default message here. You can see that it is a type message, right? We should actually get this default message, whatever we actually gave, right? Maybe this will actually work when you have your own content. So let me just give something like hi, hello here. So let's see what happens. And you have your set type, and we are starting the activity here. Let me just run this again. Yes, if you upgrade your emulator, right, sometimes few things work in emulator and few things you have to check in phone directly. Right? That happens. No issues on that. But way to access your API for sending SMS is in this way. You can actually access in this way. Right, so let me run this once. What's happening here? Okay, let me just click on SMS. Anyways, we are not taking anything, right? So, okay, can you see here? It got the message hi, hello, right? Now you can give any number here and click on enter. It will actually take that message. Okay, maybe this may work directly when you actually take any text directly into your app. But this is how you can actually access your SMS pattern actually, right? Right? If you just take the same step of edit text inside this, right, then you can directly give the data as you want, right? This is how you can actually use your SMS activity pattern to send an SMS wherever you want, right? Now let's go ahead and see the next one, which is our email one. Let me create a new activity here. Just say email activity. So let's go to the main activity and change it to email. Right, let's go to email activity. Now here in this email, normally you have hold to everything actually, to whom to send, right? Everything you want to send the email to, right? Normally whenever you want to send emails, right, you can normally we provide the complete interface you want, right? which is to whom to send, what is the subject you want and everything, right? You can actually design everything. Let me just design that. So let's take email ID. Let's say this is your email ID you want, to email ID, right? And then let's say this is your subject line, right? And let's say this is your mail content, some sort of. Right? And just say you have your send. Right? So let's go ahead and change the name. Let's say it is email. Maybe it is to email. And this is subject. And you have something called message body. Right? So replace them all again. And you have subject here. You have message body here below, and let's say BTN send mail. Right? Now this is something which we have here. So edit text to is, edit text to subject here. Right? So these are what we have now. So in this button, let's say send mail, something. So let's go ahead here and we'll see how we can actually send the mail. So let me create a button here. Right, so here let me check find me by ID r.id. You have something called btn send mail. Let me cast it to this, and then dot set on click listener of new, on click listener of this so and so. Let me import this view. Try catch. Now here we have to get the details, right? So let me get the edit text first. Edit text, let me call it as edit text to email. Edit text to email you have. Right, in the same way, let's get edit text of subject. You have something called r.id. You have something called edit text subject. Let's take one more edit text. This is a message. So we have these edit texts. I've taken it. Now let's make strings here for these things. Let's take lstr to email is equal to ltxt. You have email dot get text dot toString, and then you have subject line. Get text dot toString, and then you have string lstr message. Right. So these are the things we have here. Now once you have here, then now let's see how we can actually send the data. Right. Now this time anyways we have a straightforward things which we have here, like we have email subject which we have got from them. Now again here we have to actually get the internal API of Android, right? So let's take intent again. So let me call it as int is equal to new intent. So this time we have to get an intent action called action underscore send. So this is the intent which we'll be using for the email sending. Fine. Action of this event. Now whatever details we have, right, everything same again. So everything we have to put it in a put extra part. Now put extra will actually give all the details to the action intent we are actually intending to. Now here, in order to put email, we'll have something called intent. You have something called, everything will be on extra underscore. You have something called to or email, right? Extra underscore email will actually give you the hold on getting all the values. Now here, now email IDs, right? So whenever we are giving any email IDs, right, you should always give it as a string array, right? So normally you should create a separate string array, which is let's say string array of lstr to emails is equal to, you have to create a string array actually. Now let's give some to email here. This will actually give us a complete thing. So always whenever you give emails, always give it in a semicolon or comma separated, right? So that it will be loaded directly into the two emails. And copy them and paste it here. So this will actually take the two emails part. If you have multi, it can also take the multiple emails you want. So these are put extra of email IDs, and then we have something called put extra. Or next thing is that you have to fill the subject, right? So go for intent API again, and you have something called extra underscore subject directly, right? And paste your subject file here, right? And then you have a body of a message, right? So take your intent dot put extra. String will be your intent dot extra something called underscore. You have something called message. No, email is something else. Okay, you can either take HTML text also if you feel that your text, whatever text you are using is a normal text, or you have a direct text here. This is something where you have to mention your message. Let's say message. Now this is few things which you have to give into your normal things. And one of the very important thing what you have to set is, here you have to set the type of the intent you want to go. Now this type is, this is a standard format for email. We have something called messaging / you have RFC A22. This is the internal API type, Android type you have to give, right? So this will actually give you hold on selecting a client, right? So client, it will actually search for the client where you have SMTP things set up, right? And then you have to start activity. Now this starting activity is something which will be giving in different way. We don't give a direct intent, so instead of that we'll take an intent, right? So that we'll have to give an option to choose an intent, right? We just say something called create chooser, right? The target is our target intent, which is LOBJINT, and title just say select default mail client name, right? So that you can actually set email client for your app as such. So once user selects any default app, that will be set as a email, which email client to use, right? Now let's go to the problems. What is the problem it is giving? It shows some cross Maria, right? Let me check out that. So okay, there is no plan. Let me run this once. Sorry, this is taking some time. Okay, let me run this. So everything you have, right? Everything will be done through intent itself. Without intent, we can do nothing in our Android. So this is something which is very important, right? Intent part. So let it run. Okay, it is starting the find. Okay, you can just give some email as we don't have any. Just say some gmail.com, and then you have something called subject and message word. Just say how are you, something. Click on send mail. Now you can see when you click yes, it will ask for this select default mail client. So you can see that I don't have any mail apps being installed, right? But if you use the same app in your mobile phone, right? So it will show you what exactly the apps being installed, and you can actually choose any one of them. And what happens, whatever mapping you have done, right? Email, subject, text, it will be mapped to the new mail or compose mail window, and you can actually add something, or if you want to delete, you can delete something and send it through that. So that is how we can actually do this part. If there is no SMTP client, obviously you can't send a mail. So that is the reason why I was talking about if you don't have email client, you can't send them actually, right? So that is how you can actually, but there won't be any smartphone. If you want to send any mail, right, you will have some SMTP client or some client being installed. And Android, this step, right, set type will actually search for all the apps which you have, and it will help chooser to display all the mail clients you have installed in your Android phone, right? So that is how you can actually use your Android send mail. And here in this email part, right, so this is, I was talking about two mails, right? If you want to send something like CC or BCC, you can also do that part here. So here itself you will have something called, okay, let me keep this. Let's say I'm gonna copy this again. Come on. Right, so here you have something called email underscore or email, not email. So you have something called, let me just go to, yeah, CC. So CC will actually map the details to the copy folder, and your BCC will be like, again, like BCC. Yes, BCC. Now these are two things we have actually, CC and BCC. You can directly set them to the email IDs, and your details will be set, right? In the same way, you have something called, you have something called subject. One sec. You have something called HTML text. So HTMLs are all those mail bodies are HTML type. So in that case, you should not use text. You should use your HTML text format. So that what happens is everything you actually fill in this sub or body of the message, right? If there is any HTML tag used, it actually convert that, and even your mail client, it should be compatible with your that it will be compatible to your HTML. But normally most of the HTML SMTP mail clients will be compatible with your things actually. Sorry, Sally, you were asking something? how can you? I can't see your chat now. Okay, how about storing these mails in DB? Okay, which DB you mean? You mean SQLite? Now you can do that actually, but the thing is you will have some from email ID, right? From is something which you are going to open or select your own mail client, which means you don't have to save them exclusively because they will be anyways they will be there in the same mail of your from email ID, right? Because you are going to select one of the client here. I can't show them because in emulator it is not there, right? So that's the reason why we can't do that, right? So, but if you select anything, then yes, you can actually do that, right? Normally, I hope you can also set up some emulator mail app also, if you want. Let me check out. But it will actually make your emulator heavy actually. You can actually go to some browser, go to Google Play, right? And then try to install your some Gmail app, configure that to why to do all these things, right? Instead of that, you can directly connect your phone, and use the same APK file, deploy it in your mobile phone, and use that. That will actually work for you, right? Yeah. So that is how you can actually go ahead with that. But yes, storing this, see, if you are doing again storing all these things, which means you are actually designing your separate SMTP clients. You don't need that because we already have that part, right? Right. So every mail or everything will be there in your sent mails of your emails which you are using. So for that reason, you don't have to store these things. Yes, if you want to store, yes, definitely you can use your SQLite, create all the columns you want, and you can save this. Sorry, what is that, Lakshmi? Use UES. I didn't get that word actually. One sec, let me unmute you. One second guys, seems this is stuck. Okay. So can anyone hear my voice, guys? So is it clear? Can you just unmute and
Yeah, it's clear. I can hear you.
it's clear because I can't open up this chat window. I don't know. Maybe Sunday you can just ping again. I can't see the chat completely. Maybe guys you can just help me out with reading the chat and help me out what actually Sunday is asking, because my GoToMeeting is stuck. I can just hear your voice only. So what is the question she was asking?
I think she had just a typo mistake. Instead of yes, she did UES.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Okay, fine. No issues. Right, so that is how you can actually use your email client, and right now based on your requirement, right, you can just improve the concept of sending an email part, right? So this is how we can actually send the email part and all, right? So this is our complete telephony concepts, right? Different things which we have in our telephony things, right? So then we'll be moving on to the next part, which is I think we have to actually cover one part called external storage, right? So let me go to the storage part, or let me create a new project. Anyways, I can use the same external storage. So there is one thing which is very important in case of external storage, which is checking whether there is a external storage device, right, configured or not. So that is the one check which we have to do, and remaining things will be like normal checking, like how we do in file systems in Java, right? It will be the same system from that point on, right? We'll see how we can actually do that part in our Android. Let me open that. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask me, guys. So it seems due to this multiple runs of embedded, right, my system got some problem, it seems. See your recordings and all. So anyways, to see how whether the app our mobile phone is connected to Wi-Fi or not, those components, right, we'll be checking out, and how to turn on Bluetooth, turn off Bluetooth from our app, right? Normally if you want to send something from your app, right, you have to turn on the Bluetooth by default. We'll see how we can actually do that part now. Fine. So that will come under something called broadcasting, right? And while the same process, right, we'll see how we can actually create a background process. Now background process is something, right, it is not like we don't have any apps for that or APIs. We have to create our own threading, right, in order to create a background process, and we'll see how we can actually create them and paint the same in our UI. Fine. So we'll actually take up that part, and